Before this video starts, I just want to say make sure to like, share, subscribe to stay on top of any future content on my channel. If you have any questions, you can comment below or email me. Other than that, you all have a great day and enjoy the video. What's going on, guys? This is Dice here, and I think it's time to talk about the canceled game project that me and four of the guys were working on, and that's the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver Remastered. It's by far one of my most viewed videos on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and I have been reading the comments, and a few people, I think the opinions are mixed and match, but I know there's a lot of people who definitely were intrigued by it and probably are wondering what happened. So we started this project back in 2010. I was just finishing high school and I wanted to become a game designer. So at this time I was practicing on new coding, and at the time there was a small company that I was used to work for that would develop new programs and new hardware. It was during the mid-cycle, I would say, during the PS3 and 360 era. So I worked for this company for a little bit during my high school years, and over time I would, utilize the programs along with the Unreal Engine to try to create something new. Now, the four guys I knew were people who were, from different states who came in and, would, do their own thing, mess with these projects, and eventually we talked about seeing if we can actually make a game. The programs that we were working on were, sort of experimental projects. So we wanted to see if we can make a game out of this specific program. So we utilized the Unreal Engine along with another program that we were at the time working with. And at the time when we were doing all this, guys, it was just 5 of us guys. I look at the trailer now, and there's a few things I wish I could have done better. First off, I think one of my biggest problems with the trailer was the art design, at least for Raziel. Raziel's art design I had a problem with. One of the concept artists that we had on board, I don't know, he had this very modern idea of characters. That was pretty much normal back then, because PS3 and 360 they were trying to make these high-def modern ideal characters. So he wanted to kind of stir away from the cartoonish looking Raziel into a much more modern Raziel. To me, that one of my biggest gripes with Raziel was the fact that he looked pretty cheap. But keep in mind, with the animation and just what we were able to finish, it was just 5 of us dudes. Even though I have my problems with the trailer and with what we could have done better, I'm still impressed that we were able to do this with just 5 people. So let me tell you a little bit about where things went wrong. Okay, this was during the early cycles of 2010. A lot of things were happening. Bills and money and rent was going up, and the company where we were working for was letting people go. So a lot of it came down to money and support. And keep in mind, the other guys I worked with were having their own problems with life. So what brought this project down was just not enough income to keep it going. There was not enough funding to keep the project going as we wanted to. We had big ambitions for this project, even though when I think about it today, I mean, we weren't even supposed to do this. Soul Reaver is a product of Square Enix, but we didn't care. We were in our early 20s. We wanted to do something amazing, and the five of us guys loved Legacy of Kain. So the project was canceled due to money. There was not enough income, not enough financing funding to keep the project going. Plus, the very company that we were working for, that we were, practically building this world, this remastered version of Soul Reaver, went under. So you can say the biggest problem with what happened was just money and just a business that was going under, that couldn't strive anymore. So that's what happened with the Legacy of Kain game. It was canceled due to money and just, businesses going under, small companies that couldn't keep itself above boat. Now, putting that aside, there were big plans we had for the game. One of them we had was we wanted to remake Soul Reaver as a whole, environmental. We wanted to keep the original audio. The trailer you see right here is just a demo. Okay, it was just showing what we can do. And even though it's not perfect, it was just some demonstration of showing what five guys can do. Just to give an idea. If we had more money, maybe more financing, we could have done a better job. But keep in mind, we were in our early 20s, guys. I mean, we were teenagers, we were still learning, and even though I was good at coding, we had no idea how to really make a game properly. We were just, practically doing what we knew how to do. We took video classes on how to program, how to build a world, but we were still new at this, making this game out of this program that we really didn't truly understand. We were playing around with it. But yeah, it was just, something that we, us five guys wanted to do, who had a huge passion for Legacy of Kain. So getting back to the matter at hand, we were talking about wanting to do a full-fledged Soul Reaver Remastered. The level you saw was Terrell's Territory. That was a level that was actually removed from the Legacy of Kain game, and we just wanted to use these kind of removed levels to demonstrate an idea of what it would look like, or at least what we can do, to hopefully get financial backing from private investors. Of course, that never happened because this was the early 2000s. At the time, internet was a new thing. People were still trying to figure out how to get people noticed on the World Wide Web. Okay, you have to understand the early 2000s. Companies were still trying to figure out how to utilize this new platform. And at the time, I had no followings on any type of social media page. I mean, it was just me, me and the guys who were just building this world by ourselves. Now, one thing we wanted to add into the game, to Soul Reaver, is that we wanted to remaster the whole game. We wanted to add few new levels, and one of them was the ruins of the Seraphim stronghold, and that would be a few things we would want to add in there is new Reavers, a new story concept for these new locations that add to the world of Nosgoth. And there's another location we wanted to add called Malik's Castle. If you don't know who Malik is from the first Legacy of Kain. He was also made an appearance in Soul Reaver 2. We wanted to add that map in there where Raziel confronts Malik and actually kills him and gains a new power. What's interesting about the Malik's and the ruins of the Seraphim stronghold is that there will be new enemy variations. So we had these idea of this undead skeleton armored Seraphim priest warriors, fallen Seraphim priests that were skeletons, but they were covered in Seraphim armor. And you couldn't kill them. Unlike many enemies, you can kill them and take their souls. You couldn't kill the Seraphim priest. You can only bust them apart, but they'll eventually bring themselves back together. And the only way you can kill the Seraphim minions, the undead Seraphim minions, is to kill Malik. So there would be a confrontation between Malik and Raziel, and that would actually add to the mythos, to the Nosgoth lore. Another area we wanted to add that was removed was Terrell's territory. Okay, now Terrell wouldn't be a boss fight in this. There would be another Reaver that you can find in Terrell's territory, and we will also add the story to what happened to Terrell, and Raziel would kind of fill in why it was Terrell out of the game, giving an explanation why Terrell was in Defiance instead of Soul Reaver 1. Now another place I wanted to add is this was a new location in Nosgoth. It was called the City of the Ancients. Now the City of the Ancients is actually it's a city within itself that's actually is actually as old as the vampire civilization, the Seraphim stronghold, and even the Hilden. So the City of the Ancients actually kind of referenced the Elder God, indicating that this was a location that was older than most of the other ruins in the world, and this was a hidden city beneath the sands of Nosgoth. There was like the sands area of Nosgoth, and this city was beneath the sands. So there was lore beneath the sands of the City of the Ancients that would actually add to the Nosgoth lore, and also kind of hinting who the Elder God really was. Of course, it wouldn't say it was the Elder God, but it would kind of hint references to the Elder God about these more super advanced beings that were here way before the vampires and the Hilden and humanity. One thing we wanted to add in this game is this is something that's been talked about in the Soul Reaver reviews, and people have talked about many times. Was the combat was too standard, so we wanted to add combat, kind of like a combat combo system in it, where each time Raziel devours a brethren's soul, he gets a new combat move, meaning that he can do a lot more with his Reaver in his hands and weapons in his hands. So we wanted to add a combat system, giving Raziel a little more dynamic in fighting rather than the standard fighting techniques that were in the PS1 and Dreamcast version. So that's something we wanted to add in this game, along with new Reavers for Raziel to use, and a few new elemental powers that you can find just to explore Nosgoth, and a few cool relics. So that is Soul Reaver, at least the plans we had in mind. Unfortunately, like I said in the comments below, the game was canceled, and when I think about it now, I think it was probably for the best. Back when I was in high school, guys, I had a huge love for reboots. I used to be a big fan of them. But over time, my opinion has changed on reboots due to the incompetence of companies, and due to the fact that reboots tend to damage brands more than they tend to do more damage than good. And the Legacy of Kain series is a series I adore. It's one of my favorite video game series. It's by far, along with Sonic and Area 51. Soul Reaver to me is a masterpiece. And I think one of the biggest challenges I think about now, I wasn't thinking back then, is if we added these new locations, new maps, and new territories for the game, it would be extremely hard to get the original dialogue along with the Elder God, that's Tony J, that's now dead, to rephrase those stories on those locations. And that's another thing I did not think about back then. And when I think about it now, it would be extremely hard to to practically do now, because the voice actors are practically now old, and I don't know if they would wanna do these kind of things anymore. And without the Elder God, I mean, it's kind of impossible. So there's a lot of cool ideas brought into this game. Unfortunately, money and just the nature of business, companies go under, really hurted, really just made us cancel the project. Plus, the guys I was working with at the time were going through their own life issues, and not being paid to a point where it was desirable to them to stay. The project was kind of destined to go under. Unfortunately, that's just the way things are. Things happen being that are beyond our control, and there's nothing really I can do about that. Now, if I was asked by a few people, would I come back and do this game again? And if I had the finances to back it up, yeah, I would definitely will do it. I would, definitely love to, tackle this project again. Of course, I would done a few things differently, like the art design for Raziel. I would want him to look like Raziel, rather than having him look like a cheap, generic character model. Now, to give credit, the guy who was doing the artwork, he was going for a more modern look because that's at the time that was the whole hype, modern look back in 2010. Where I didn't like it because it looked too cheap and it looked generic and it didn't look like Raziel. And there was a few things like the spectral realm, shift. It wasn't perfect. We were trying to recreate that, of course, with our limited knowledge and how to do something properly. I mean, it was a try. We tried to do it. Now today, I think I can do that. But keep in mind, this is just a demo, guys. A trailer. It was a demo trailer to show you, what 5 people can do. And if you guys liked it, I really appreciate it. Other than coming back to this project, who knows? Maybe. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to talk about that and clear up some clarifications on what happened and some of the ideas that were going on behind the scenes of remaking this game, this ambitious project. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, please comment below and share what you think.